Hey, good day, viewers. EFCC arrested 792 individuals, including foreigners, in a large building where numerous scam devices were seized. The identity of the owner remain undisclosed. Let us watch the analysis and the comment on Arise TV.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission announced in a post on X on Monday that the commission arrested 792 suspects for their alleged involvement in cryptocurrency investment fraud and romance scam, marking the agency's biggest arrest in one day. The suspects were apprehended on Tuesday, December 10th, in a surprise operation at their hideout, a 7-story building in Victoria Island. The suspects included 148 Chinese nationals, 40 Filipinos, 2 from Kyrgyzstan, 1 from Pakistan, and 1 from Indonesia, including their Nigerian accomplices. The foreign nationals were reported to have used the facility to train their Nigerian accomplices on how to initiate romance and investment scams, and also use the identities of their Nigerian accomplices to perpetrate their criminal activities. The EFCC's post reads in part: the Nigerian accomplices are equally provided with logs that allow them access to foreign communication lines and victims, which they chat with on WhatsApp, Instagram, and Telegram. The Nigerian accomplices, who are assigned WhatsApp accounts linked to foreign telephone numbers, especially from Germany and Italy, engage victims in romantic conversations as well as phantom business and investment discussions to trick them to shop on the purported online investment shopping platform called YouTube.com. I've never heard of this. For those who show interest, activation fees for an account on that platform starts from $35 US. Dr. Abati, I mean, when I read this story, I was in shock. But let me just read a statement from the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede. He said that the Nigerians involved in the alleged fraudulent activities don't know the owners of the company they work for because they are not offered letters of appointments or receive payment from a corporate account. Well, according to him, the suspected Nigerian accomplices are usually paid either in cash or through an individual's account. I must commend the EFCC. I'll take a reaction after your comment, Dr. Abati.
Okay, let me start with a comment of the chairman of the EFCC,
Yes.
Mr. Olukoyede, that these persons do not even know who the owners of the company is, and that they are paid, like daily paid workers. Now, this speaks to two things. The fact that there is very serious unemployment in this country. There are too many jobless young men and women out there who can be recruited for any kind of negative purpose, whether criminal or otherwise. The second thing is that the chairman of the EFCC saying, these 792 suspects do not even know who the owners of the company are. I think the onus is on the security agencies, not just the EFCC, to find out who the owners of the company are, how they manage right in the heart of Lagos, Victoria Island, to rent a 7-story building,
Unbelievable.
set up a massive operation involving high-end technology, and they recruited so many people in their hundreds. And the Nigerian security system could not notice them, could not find out what they were doing until now. That means that this operation may have been going on for a very long time. And now that they have found them, I think the owners should not be let off the hook. Now look at the profile of the foreigners involved. About 114 Chinese people, two persons from Kyrgyzstan, were 2 from the Philippines. I think there were also Filipinos, 14 Filipinos.
And Indonesia.
All these people, they are supposed to have immigration permits.
Yes.
Or what do they call it? Work visa or something in Nigeria. So the Nigerian immigration system could not trace them, could not track them to know what exactly they do in Nigeria. That they will now set up an amoral criminal enterprise called the investment scam and romance scam. And they teach these many Nigerians that they recruit how to deceive women overseas, giving them SIM cards. SIM cards, over 500 SIM cards were seized at that location. Now, I thought they said for you to have a SIM card, you must register it, and it must be linked to, is it NIN?
Yeah.
So that shows again this registration of SIM cards is not something that is working. It works only for decent human beings who are law-abiding. It doesn't seem to work for criminals in our midst. So these are the various areas of investigation that the Nigerian state needs to look into, apart from the other details about making sure that this operation does not continue. And we do not want to hear that these people are all released and they go back to their scam operation. Because this is Nigeria. It can happen.
Anything can happen. I mean, you're absolutely right that this whole scam was happening under the watch of the security forces in Nigeria. I mean, you're not the only one, Dr. Abati. Let me take this comment from Collins, who wrote, EFCC can parade 193 foreigners in one raid, but can't lay a finger on the real syndicates looting Nigeria dry. Where are the headlines for those who padded the national budget, the oil thieves with private jets, politicians with unexplained mansions in Dubai and London, governors turning state funds into personal piggy banks, while you are raiding big leaf buildings? The real big men are walking free with immunity and luxury. Selective justice won't fix Nigeria. I mean, I thought that tweet was quite apt, really. I mean, we've been talking about the people that have been walking freely. I wanted to take this, Ayo, before I come to you, so you can probably juxtapose both. Well, in another development, The Guardian is reporting that former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, has threatened to sue persons behind an online media outlet, Daily Excessive, over an alleged fake report targeted at causing a strained relationship between him and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The online platform was alleged to have published a report quoting the former governor to have said while in court that he would reveal to the world how President Tinubu became Nigeria's president. Well, according to Yahaya Bello's media aide, the report was not only misleading but a confirmation of how unintelligent some unrelenting detractors of the former governor can be. Ayo, over to you.
All right, so he has a right to sue if he feels that he's been, that's libelous state publication. But I think he has bigger things to worry about than his relationship with, preserving the relationship or his image with the president. He still has the count with the corruption charges by the EFCC. He has the bill, he has 500 million naira and like some with two shorties. He has that to answer and even accountability to the people of Kogi State. But let me take that back to the story of the 792 individuals who were publicly displayed in quotes by the EFCC. Remember when the case about the estate in Abuja happened, that they said they couldn't disclose the name or the personality of the person behind it, and we're saying that if we're poor men, they would easily put their faces in public and say, look at our suspects, they haven't even been charged yet. But this is why that how the person who tweeted had said selective justice and how this report look like. But very importantly, a lot of the men and women who were arrested for fraudulent activities are very young. And let me go the opposite way and actually make a case for them. A lot of our Nigerian youth are being swayed or being enticed into a life of crime because there's no alternative. In other parts of the world, rather than sending all of them to jail, what I would appeal for is that let a deeper investigation be done. And for those who are victims of circumstances, let's see how we can rechannel their skills and their expertise to good. A lot of them are very skilled in the area of technology, in the area of IT. Let us retool, because the system has failed the Nigerian youth. And that's why we see that it's easy for them to be susceptible to a life of crime. I'm not justifying crime in any way. What I'm just saying is that it signifies or it signals a deeper issue that we have as a country where we are failing and letting down our young people. such that they are so desperate, they have no other alternative but to be enticed by people. We see all these job alerts. We see on walls, oh, call this number for a job. You just go because you're desperate. So I'm not trying to justify crime, but I'm trying to make a case for young Nigerians who have been failed by the state and who are now paraded as criminals, even though some of them might be victims of circumstances. But people like Yahaya Bello, people like the other people who are, I mean, they are not victims of circumstances. For some of them, if found guilty, it's just a matter of greed.
Right, absolutely. Before a quick comment, before I take these stories, highlighting these good gestures really quickly.
Okay, so the thing, Audrey, is, I think this thing leaves me with many more questions to answer.
Yes.
The number one question is, where is the database for foreign people that come into the country?
Yep.
How do we track that database? Olubumitunji Ojo says they now have a database to be able to track them for the airport. But how do we track that database? Secondly, what is our property sector like when you want to lease a building to somebody? What are the due diligence that somebody leasing out his building must be able to do? Should it also be made part of the law that that person should take, for instance, employing services of somebody to be able to do a background check and all of that? Thirdly, what about the ecosystem they thrive on? The ecosystem of, because people don't have jobs and things like that, how can we live in that ecosystem? Ayo, you made a very great point as regards that, because it's because we've not paid a lot of attention to the young people that we can have a thriving ecosystem for crime. Another point is, what is now going to be done to these people? Is there going to be a collective case? What is the justice system, the criminal justice system? How long is it going to take for these people to be prosecuted and the crimes to be known and the jail time to be served out? Also, what is the liaison with the embassies of these different countries? We've got people from Kazakhstan, from Indonesia and all of that. What is that liaison? Have we been able to make appropriate reporting to those countries? So it leads to many questions, but most importantly, data.
Yep.
That's one important area that we've not worked at as regards.
All right.
We need to be able to do more work on our data.
All right. That's to the Ministry of Interior. Now let's switch gears and highlight these great gestures. As Christmas draws near, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday approved free train rides nationwide. The initiative is set to run from December 20th, 2024 to January 5th. Offering relief to citizens during the holiday season. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, announced the development in Abuja. He stated that the move aims to ease transportation costs for Nigerians celebrating Christmas and New Year. Ayo, you know that I put this in the poll. I was asking you guys. Well, I actually, this was one that I didn't add, but I was asking free rides, transportation. But people chose security and good governance. Yeah. Well, you know, in Ebonyi State, the state's governor, Francis Mufuru, last week announced a Christmas bonus of 150,000 naira each for every worker in the state. Well, according to the governor's chief press secretary, the bonus will be distributed on Tuesday, December 17th. Well, the Arewa Group of Northern Nigeria has commended the governor's efforts and focus on workers' welfare and called on other state governors to adopt similar initiatives to uplift their workforce during the festive season. Dr. Abati, this is the same state governor, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago, that said he will fire every worker that doesn't come to work. It's good to see that he has, found a way to mend fences with the workers in his state. I mean, I think that is also a great initiative. Before you speak, let me take another great initiative. The United Bank of Africa has donated 500 million naira to the Lagos State Security Trust Fund to enhance security for individuals and businesses. The donation was presented by UBA Chairman Tony Elumelu at the State House in Marina, Lagos on Monday. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu praised UBA and its foundation for the significant contribution. He also commended Elumelu for championing impactful projects that support the state's development. Dr. Bati, quick comment before we...
Okay, quickly, let me start with the UBA and thank the United Bank for Africa and Mr. Tony Elumelu for their contribution to the Lagos State Trust Fund. Well, I have a bias in that regard. I was a member of the pioneer board of the Lagos State Security Trust Fund 2007 to 2011. And our main task at that time was to appeal to the private sector to say that, look, The federal government had failed in maintaining security. The police was underfunded at the Lagos state government. Now, the vision from the Tinubu administration to Governor Fashola was to set up this structure in Lagos state, which has now become a model for other states. And the private sector in Lagos bought into it. They supplied funds, support. Now, I'm sure this is not the first time UBA is doing this. Dangote, group did it in the past and repeatedly. Mr. Femi Otedola contributed to the fund. I mean, all the major companies in Lagos. And what did we do with the money then? To provide infrastructure for state police, to set up a station, an action room. We have it there in Alausa, just to improve security, to set up neighborhood guards.
I love it.
And all that. And that has worked over the years. And one governor after the other has sustained the vision. I know there are a couple of states that have, copied the Lagos model, to learn from how it is very well managed.
Very good.
And to throw in a point that I always make when you bring this up, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was in that pioneer board of the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. So it's a subject that he knows very well, and it's a vision that he sustained, that he has sustained. Let us just say to other members of the private sector that, they should be supportive continuously.
Yes.
And as for Governor Nwufuru, of Ebonyi, I think he has done very well.
Yes.
150,000. There's something they call the 13th month. I see it in the sense of the 13th month. It is Christmas time. He wants to make sure that the people of Ebonyi State enjoy Christmas. And this is supposed to be a season of joy and goodwill to all men.
Yes.
But what is more important is that we hope that the workers that will connect this 150,000 bonus will not be ghost workers. That the disbursement will be transparent and that there will be proper accountability. They must not be ghost workers, so that they too can buy turkey and chicken at Christmas. And that subsequently, Governor Nwufuru, one of those people who have pledged that they will pay the national minimum wage, will beyond Christmas continue to focus on the welfare of the workers in the state.
Well said, Dr. Abati. I love that. And I just wanted to add a quick point to the Security Trust Fund, encouraging other state governors to emulate the Lagos state model. I believe in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke began that initiative. And it all comes in the wake of this, governors clamoring for state police. So kudos to Tony Elumelu and UBA. Well, let's head over now to the United Kingdom, where a 13-year-old boy is suing his parents after being sent to a boarding school in Africa. The boy claimed that he was relocated without prior warning under the pretense of visiting a sick relative and accuses his parents of abandoning him emotionally and physically. His lawyers described the move as a brutal act driven by unfounded fears in gang involvement in London, which the boy denies. Meanwhile, his parents argue the decision was necessary to address his behavior, citing concerns flagged by social workers. I mean, this is what we are seeing here in the United Kingdom. Ayo, when you sent me this story, because I will tell you, I was like, what is actually going on here?
The outcome of this case is going to be legendary for many Nigerian parents.
It will be nice
because this is a classic case of a child misbehaving and I will send you back to Nigeria. And then, under the guise of, you already talked about it, they brought him back to Nigeria and put him in a boarding house to reset him back to former. But he did something. He actually contacted the British consulate here in Nigeria and reported the fact that he was emotionally and physically, abandoned by his parents, and they took up the case. Now, the UK is very big on child protection and rights of a child. Very, very, very big on that. And so they've taken this up and they're funding his legal bills through legal aid. And, they are speaking strongly, saying that, it's emotionally going to affect him and all that. The bigger conversation that a lot of people, that has now provoked, concerns from people is parental rights over parental authority over child's rights.
Yes.
Now, where does it end? Where is it over policing or over the state being too, their interference in the way a parent, because the child is just 13 years old. He's still under the care of his parents. Yes. Where the state stops and the parents continue. Because the danger is that you get to a point where a parent will have no authority again over their children or decisions made over their children. According to the parents, it's begun. They said to see signs. Guns on his phones. He was wearing expensive clothes without any commensurate, lead as to how he got the money to afford these outfits. Falling bad gang, as they often say, and they thought to take matters into their own hands before matters will spoil. And then now the government is coming in to step in. The case hasn't been decided, but whatever the decision or the outcome would be, already we talk about children calling the police when their parents, smack them, or talk to them and help. So I can't imagine what would happen for Nigerian parents if they now make it illegal or make it a case or there's a precedent to say that they cannot send their children back home.
I cannot imagine.
This is also going to have serious consequences for jackpying. You have to think twice before you decide to take your family abroad, because these are some of the consequences whereby you have to face a different culture.
Well, at 13, I believe that the court should make the right decision here. I mean, they just sent the child to go for proper discipline in Africa. We'll take another story now under entertainment. The woman who accused Grammy Award-winning musician Jay-Z and embattled music mogul Diddy of raping her when she was 13 years old has acknowledged some holes in her initial allegations. Well, on Friday, December 13th, NBC News aired an in-depth interview with the woman and discovered inconsistencies with her account of the alleged incident. The woman, who is now 38 and lives in Alabama, anonymously spoke with the news outlet and admitted that when she told her attorneys about the night she was allegedly raped by both rappers in the year 2000, she made some mistakes. Let's listen in.
I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet, but it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs's limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. Well, at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements.
Well, Rufai, it's really trying times for the rapper Jay-Z. But you know, Jay-Z has responded to his accuser in the wake of that interview. In a post on Rock Nation, the rapper noted that the woman's lawyer will not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but will make things worse by further peddling the, in quote, false story. Let me read his statement there. Jay-Z wrote, "Today's investigative report proves this attorney, Busby, filed a false complaint against me in the pursuit of money and fame. This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon." Sean Carter. Jay-Z must always rap, though. Apparently, you know, the law soon, Sean Carter. But, you know, his attorney has asked the court to dismiss the case as frivolous.
I mean, many people in the public eye normally have cases like this. I'm not saying that there are people that do not have genuine cases. I mean, we can look at the likes of them, Weinstein and all of that. But you always face this. But the question is, what is the consistency of her deposition? She lacks that. Even the people that said that driven her home said they were not, you know, there at that point. The people that she even claimed were even there at that point in time said they were not there. The
woman died.
The father said that he knows nothing about it. There's no way that you will have told the father that it was rape and it will not have stuck in the memory because it was.
They said they didn't speak, Rufai. Remember, they didn't speak.
But there's no how she will not have been able to tell people about it. So it looks very funny. And like what Jay-Z was saying here is the fact that when you look at it deeply, some of these lawyers too that will not do a proper inquisition as regards it will come out.
Yes.
But to be able to be on the side of balance,
yes,
let us see how this pans out. Because as it is to me, the case is dead.
that's what you feel. Well, you know, this has caused a lot of...
But if she has justification and consistency in her narrative, why not and if not? Because over the years, there were many cases like this that were brought against the likes of them R. Kellys of this one and that said he was dead on arrival until the truth finally came out.
This has caused a lot of issues.
We have to be careful.
We know that Beyonce and Jay-Z have maintained a united front. Last week, they walked the red carpet with their oldest daughter, Blue Ivy, for the Lion King prequel film, Mufasa. The 12-year-old who voices Kiara in the film was dressed in a strapless gold Christian Siriano ball gown, sparked a debate online. While some admired her princess-inspired look, others criticizes her too mature for her age. Ayo, we don't have much time on this story because we have to
it's very difficult to determine how a parent decides to parent their child.
Yes.
I think she looked beautiful.
I thought
so too. In many cultures, I think there's also a cultural part of this where they might think it's a bit too excessive. I thought it was a bit much. But she looked, I can't legislate on how a parent decides to parent.
Absolutely, I thought she looked beautiful. Jay-Z and Sean Diddy have been in the news, and it's good to see that Beyonce and her husband are keeping a united front. We'll continue on this story, we'll follow it up. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.